I know that Georgia fans love to crap on Carson Beck. However, I think if Georgia fans knew what he said during ACC Media Days about Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs, maybe some of them might change the way they think about Georgia's starting quarterback last year. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. I thought he had some eye-opening comments about his time at Georgia. And I'm not trying to make excuses for the way he played for a lot of last year. Some of it was really good. Some of it was really bad. But I do think that Carson Beck gets a bad rap from Georgia fans who have basically just thrown him in the trash and just love to crap on him, right? That a lot of them do right now. And we're just going to talk about it. But here are his comments that I think Georgia fans are going to really like about his time at Georgia. He said, quote, "My time at Georgia was unbelievable. I sat for 3 years. I sat behind a two-time national champion in Stetson Bennett, and I played with many amazing players that I've built relationships with that will last a lifetime. There was nothing at the time compared to playing at Sanford Stadium. Those fans always showed up and always showed out. I think back to the Tennessee game this past year and the 8 overtime win against Georgia Tech, and it makes me emotional because that's not how I expected it to come to an end. I'm super thankful for my time at Georgia and everything that university has instilled in me." So again, I don't know if most of the hate for Carson Beck comes because of all the turnovers that he made last year, right? 3 interceptions against Texas, 3 interceptions against Florida, 4 total turnovers against Alabama. They got to the playoffs, but lost that first game. He obviously didn't play. So I don't know if it's because of his play last year or simply because he's just playing for another team. Now, if I remember correctly, and y'all can read back over on Dawg Post, he entered the draft and then said, you know what? I think I'm just going to transfer to Miami and make millions of dollars. At the end of the day, Carson Beck made the right decision. He needed a fresh start. Georgia needed a fresh start. He was going to get paid more at Miami than he would by an NFL team where he was going to get drafted. Georgia wasn't going to pay him the money that Miami is right now. So Carson Beck made the best decision for him, and it could be the best decision for Georgia, who I think they needed a change too. This was 2 years of the Carson Beck experience. They were really, really good under him in 2023. Yes, he had Brock Bowers. Yes, he had Lab McConkey. But he was really good. Disappointing year last year, and he even said during ACC Media Days, I was trying to be Superman too many times. I was trying to do too much. Clearly, right? He was putting some balls into where he shouldn't be throwing them. He was trying to throw through 2-3 defenders at times. I mean, there were some throws where you're thinking, what are you looking at? What are you doing? You shouldn't be making those throws, right? However, I hope Georgia fans remembered the good that he did, right? A lot of it was in 2023, but Carson Beck was really good against Tennessee. They were losing early in that game. That is a come-from-behind victory over a top 25 Tennessee team. That was a great performance by him down the stretch, and he played really well. He played even better against Georgia Tech in 8 overtimes. I don't know if they win that game with Gunnar Stockton, but I know Carson Beck's play is a big reason why they beat Georgia Tech. He played better and better as that game went along. He was money in overtime, and that was almost one of the more embarrassing losses in Georgia football history if they would have lost to Georgia Tech at home. Carson Beck was lights out. He should get a lot of credit, and I think that was an all-time game, maybe the best Georgia Tech game of all time. And when people remember that game years down the road, I hope they remember the key throws that Carson Beck made, and I hope they remember that he was outstanding in his 2 games against Tennessee, and the guy had some big moments, and I hope Georgia fans kind of remember that. But I think a lot of it has to do with the lack of leadership that he showed. I thought he was a really good leader, and the team rallied behind him in many different ways in 2023. And yeah, could he have been a better leader 12 months ago during the offseason going into last year? Probably. Did he have some distractions that maybe led to him not being the leader that some people think he wasn't? Sure. I will say this, outside of the Instagram, TikTok girlfriend, and outside of the cars and the money that he was making in his last year at Georgia, he had some stuff off the field that he was going through that 99% of Georgia fans don't know about and probably shouldn't know about because it was private. But I know that it was on his mind. So he had a private issue going on behind the scenes. He had the new girlfriend. Life was good. He had the money, had the cars. So yeah, I agree. If you think that Carson Beck was not the leader he should have been, I'll take you up on that. But I do think that the team did rally behind him. And the team did believe in him and his talent and what he brought to the table, especially in 2023 against Clemson going into the season, against Alabama. Don't tell me that he wasn't a great leader for that Alabama game, right? Could he have been better in the offseason leading up to the season? Yeah, but in that moment, in that game, even though he did have 4 turnovers, they were down 28-0, and the team and the offense rallied behind him, and he made the big throws to give them the lead. He threw the interception to end the game. I get all that. I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but he remembers his time at Georgia really well. And I think Georgia fans should probably look at him and his career and say, you know what? That's the guy that led us to a really, really strong season in 2023 and, an SEC championship in 2024. He didn't finish the SEC championship, of course. I mean, he didn't get benched because of his play, even though he did struggle against Texas in both games, really. And Gunnar Stockton came in and came from behind and won that game. I don't know if Carson Beck and Georgia beat Texas in Atlanta if he's the quarterback the entire game. I don't know. Sure didn't look like it at one point, especially at the half. But there were times where he played really well, and I just hope Georgia fans remember that about him. I mean, are we going, or I say we, I'm not a fan. I cover the team. I didn't go to Georgia, so I don't have that connection to the university that a lot of Georgia fans have that went to the school. I just cover the team, but I wonder, are Georgia fans going to look at every quarterback this way that doesn't win a national championship? If Gunnar Stockton doesn't win a national championship at Georgia, are Georgia fans going to say, well, he stunk, let's move on and just kind of throw him away? I don't know. Or is it because of the off-the-field distractions that he had and the, quote, lack of leadership a lot of people think that he had, right? Where is the hate mostly coming from? Is it just because he played for another team, right? I think I totally get why Georgia fans do not like Jermaine Burton, who was very much anti-Georgia when he played at Alabama. I think Carson Beck will always, I think he will pull for Kirby Smart and the Dogs, when Miami wraps up their game or whenever. If Miami plays at noon, the Dogs play Texas or Alabama at 7:30, Carson Beck's going to be pulling for Georgia. That's what I believe. And I think he is going to do pretty well at Miami if he doesn't try to be Superman out there. He's not going against the defenses that he had to go up against last year either. So I do think he will have somewhat of a bounce back year. But if you look at his quotes, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of love lost. I think he does. He was there for 4 years. He sat for 3 years, right? 2020, 21, 22. Anyone else, especially in this era of college football, they're transferring. They're not even thinking twice. They're leaving. Carson Beck wanted to be the quarterback of the University of Georgia, and he was patient. He waited his turn. It wasn't always easy because he thought he deserved to maybe start that UAB game in game 2 of the 21 season. He's got an ego. He believes in himself. He's a confident kid. He thought he was the better option over Stetson Bennett behind the scenes. He wasn't. And he stayed patient because he wanted to be at Georgia. He loves Georgia more than people realize. And I still think he's got a special place for Georgia in his heart because I know him and his family a little bit. And he wanted it to end a little better. And I think he's not real happy that a lot of Georgia fans are just kind of hating on him and crapping on him. And I hope that Georgia fans don't do that with every quarterback that doesn't win a national championship. They didn't do that with Jacob Eason. Some did with Justin Fields. Justin Fields had to leave. He had to transfer. That was the best decision for him. Carson Beck had to do the same thing. Carson had to do what's best for Carson, and he made the right decision. He is making a lot of money at Miami, has a chance to improve his draft stock. And again, it was time. It was time for something else. There was 2 years where he was Georgia's starting quarterback. Gunnar Stockton comes in, helps lead them to an SEC title, didn't play terribly bad against Notre Dame. The Gunnar Stockton era needed to happen. This needed to be the year where he takes over. So I think it's great for all parties. It's best for Georgia that they've got Gunnar Stockton, should be the guy. It's good for Gunnar, who patiently waited his turn. It's good for Miami that they've got an experienced quarterback. I think he's going to help that program. And it's good for Carson Beck, too. So I think everyone won. And again, I know that Georgia fans love to crap on him, but I think that they will be pleasantly surprised with his quotes about his time at Georgia. So I know this is probably the last video we're ever going to make about Carson Beck. Fall camp is right around the corner because I know the comments are going to be like, let's move on, blah, blah, blah. He's not on that team. This is the last time we get to talk about him. Fall camp starts next week, and there will be no talk. But it's still late July. ACC Media Days happened just last week, so this is still kind of fresh news. And I thought the quotes were really eye-opening. So that's what Carson Beck had to say about his time in Athens. If you're a Carson Beck hater, is there a specific reason why? I'm not hating on your opinion. I'm just curious. Thanks for watching. Hope you give us a read over on Dawg Post. Check out the website. We've got a lot of really cool stuff coming your way. Football season is almost here, so make sure you are on Dawg Post for the latest and greatest Georgia Bulldog news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you over on the website.